Let me introduce myself. My name is Thích. Yeah, and I'm 18. So yeah, I you know, I actually, I actually don't live here. Yeah, I just, I'm from the other province. Yeah, so I want. What is your name?
My name's Patrick. I'm from the United States. I live in California near Mexico.
Okay.
And I'm 26.
That's smooth. I want to know about the. Can you give me some information about the weather and the climate in your country?
In my country.
Yeah.
The weather depends where you're at in the country. If you're on the East Coast, it's
Yeah.
going to be different than the West Coast, also different than the middle of the United States, different from the South. Where I'm from in California, in San Diego, the weather is fairly nice all the time,
Wonderful.
year-round, roughly 68 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit, equivalent to low to mid-20s in Celsius.
Okay.
In the winter time, it does rain a bit. However, San Diego is close to the mountains, so within 5 hours, I can be in meters of snow.
Okay.
Temperatures ranging from 0 Celsius to -10.
Okay.
The further north you go to San Francisco, more rain occurs, as likewise up the coast into Oregon and Washington State. There's a lot more rain on the east side of the mountain. I'm sorry, the west side of the mountain.
Okay.
Different climate zones occur depending on what side of the mountains you're on. Where I'm from originally, near Chicago, it is hot during the summer with upwards of 90 to 100% humidity.
Okay.
But cold in the winter, getting as low as -25 degrees Celsius. I've also lived in Wyoming, North Dakota, Colorado. In North Dakota, in the winter, first week of December, it was -40 degrees Celsius.
Oh my.
Yep. Doesn't really snow a whole lot when it's that cold. And down in the south, Florida, Georgia, Carolinas, it's very humid, very sticky, hot in the summers, moderate during the winters and the spring. And then in the middle of the states, the fall or the autumn season, which for us is the same. It would be September to November. Cooler temperatures, change of colors. The leaves start to change colors. It's really beautiful.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about here?
Okay. Many foreigners and travelers to Vietnam think that the country is blessed with year-round tropical sunshine. But the Vietnam climate is very local, very variable, and complex. Yeah. Like chilly winters, yeah, extended dry season, and tropical monsoons, yeah, are possible throughout the different parts of the country.
Okay.
Yeah, and Vietnam's weather is split between three distinct regions. and there are northern regions, central regions, and southern regions. Okay, the north of Vietnam has a quite distinct summer and winter seasons. And the summer season runs from May to October, when the weather is humid and hot. But you can also see the region's highest rainfall. Yeah.
So it's starting to cool down now. It's the
Yeah.
becoming cooler temperatures.
Yeah. And the wettest months are likely to be July to September. Okay. Yeah. And the dry, cool weather runs from November to April, with the temperature 17 to 22 degree.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's not very humid then either, no.
Yeah.
How about when you get closer to the coast in the north? Still the same.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, so the coolest months are January, February, and March. Okay. So the central of Vietnam, so we can witness the dry, cool weather with the temperature about 35 degree. 35. Yeah. For the winters months, the rainfall can see a significant increase with peak levels arriving in October and November. Yeah. So on occasion, the rainfall can lead to typhoons.
Is there a typhoon season?
Yeah. You can consider it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
what months are those in the typhoon season? In the north, because the regions will probably change for the seasons, correct?
From July to August, between it.
Okay.
So in the central highlands, it is quite dry from November to May, but it will get chilly between December and January. Yeah.
Very short amount of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in the south, it's hot.
Yeah, and,
all the time.
The south of Vietnam has a temperature range that is constant year-round, about 25 to 35 degrees. Yeah.
And humid, yeah.
But it's still split between the dry and wet seasons.
Okay.
Yeah. The dry season runs from November to late April, and you can experience the humid and hot in the late February from the late February to May. Yeah, and about the wet season, you can call it the rainy season. Yeah, runs from May to November with the greatest rainfall. Yeah, taking place between June and August.
Okay.
Yeah. So even though the rainfall get heavy at times, it is quite predictable and often occurs in the afternoon with short, heavy downpour.
How long do the rains last in an afternoon? Is it a short period of 20 minutes or is it?
Yeah, it's short.
Very short.
Yeah, very short.
Okay.
but it's it's happened
It's a tropical climate. I mean, that's similar in many
Yeah.
places that you go with a similar climate.
yeah.
Hawaii
Oh.
is similar. It gets hot, humid, muggy,
Muggy.
and then
It's got
pattern in the weather shifts and the humidity snaps and it rains for 10 to 15 minutes and then it's less humid, it's cooled down, and it's
Yeah.
usually in the afternoons at break right before the sun
Yes.
goes down,
Yeah,
and then
the rain.
it transitions into
So-
the cooler night.
So that's all about
Okay.
that's my information.
Yeah.
So well, it's 10 minutes. So thank you for spending your time. I appreciate.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem, man. Your English is very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. It's much better than my Vietnamese.
Yeah.
But no, really, you're
So you can understand 100%
yes.
of my.
Yeah, you're very articulated when you speak, and your pronunciations are very pronounced and definitive. So it's good that you're speaking clearly, and you're using alliteration
Yeah.
in your vocabulary, because it's something that isn't always captured. It's harder to capture when you speak multiple languages. You know, I started in Iceland before I was here,
Okay.
made my way through Northern Europe, and then to Thailand, through a bit of Thailand, and now I'm over here. And there's a wide range of different English pronunciation, alliterations, quality. And for me, obviously I'm a kind of a second generation English speaking as far as the world goes. Obviously you have the United Kingdom, British,
Yeah.
colonized the world, right? So their form of English is different than the American form of English. And also what's different throughout the United States, one side of the country speaks differently than the other side of the country, just as it is, I'm sure, throughout Vietnam. Certain areas probably have their own dialect, right? I'm from an area of the United States where we're very plain, don't have much of an accent, so to say.
Okay.
So not that anybody wouldn't be able to tell that I was from the United States, which is more obvious, but I don't have a thick southern drawl. I don't speak like I'm from Canada, or maybe some say I do, but
I can't tell the difference between when a Canadian speak English and an American speak.
There's inflections in the voice. Certain words they say with an inflection at the end. Voice gets higher. That kind of stuff, which is kind of what I noticed traveling from basically Northern Europe all the way through over to here, and even through the United States, is everybody has their own way of pronouncing words, and I think it's harder for people to speak English in a similar manner to those of us in the United States when they come from countries that are surrounded by English-speaking countries, or they speak English normally, because they transition between their native language and English, and some of their inflections and their almost speaking personalities that is cultural to their homeland gets brought into the English language. So inflections on words, pronunciations don't necessarily correlate properly, or pairs of letters mean something different in their language. Like with the Dutch, a CH is a almost like a blender, like you put ice in the blender and you turn it on and but for us in American English is CH can be two. It's ch, as in like ch, like a church, or also k, like as a K, as in school.
Yeah.
But I noticed when I was speaking with a Dutch woman who was just learning English, she would have a tendency to pronounce words like school with like a. She was trying to bring her language of the CH as a noise into. So there's a difficulty there because I think when you share the same alphabet too, it becomes difficult to kind of differentiate one language to the next. So that's why I commend you on your ability to speak, because it's good.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
And especially to people that I know who've spoken English many years, but maybe they're German or Dutch or
Indian.
French, Indian.
Yeah, Indian.
Yeah, I do know some
Yeah.
Indian people as well.
Uh,
So, it's all interesting, but yeah, sometimes it's hard to understand. And like, I checked into my hostel, and the woman who checked me in spoke English, but her English she was speaking English, but I couldn't fully understand what she was saying all the time. I knew she was saying something, but her alliteration and pronunciations were hard for me to understand. So I wasn't quite sure what she was saying. But I had none of that with you since you sat down.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's over 15 minutes. Sorry for bothering you.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.